Hi guys. This is a video response to screen name is Ashleetorin. First off, Ashley, you're a very opinionated individual. So am I, and obviously you have no concerns with taking other people's feelings really into consideration, because if you did, I think you would word things differently. This whole video is essentially about you needing to know the truth about passing for you, because the people around you, they can't look at it objectively. Before I go into everything else that I want to point out with this video, and just with the attitude alone that I see coming from you, I want to let you know you are 100%, in my opinion, passable. No doubts about it. To be honest, I probably wouldn't even know that you were trans if you didn't mention it in your videos. I honestly wouldn't know. And that's saying a hell of a lot. So, to answer your question, yes, you are 100% passable. And obviously it's a concern, and it's a valid concern. I think we all have questions here. When you ask the question, are you ever going to be able to live a normal life, blah, blah, blah. Well, the first question is what's normal? Second aspect of that is, in all reality, no matter how passable you are, no matter how stealth you are in your life, you still, inside, will occasionally be reminded that you're trans. It's not going away. I think the reason why I tend to sometimes get irritated with a lot of your videos is because of your tone of voice, and because of the way you choose to word things. You talk about how you've lost everything. Here's the thing. We have all lost shit. Very few of us have not lost something because of our transition, because of the fact of our trans identity, because of who we are. Very few of us have been lucky enough not to lose anything and not to have to sacrifice. You said that you have lost a lot. Actually, I believe your wording was something along the lines of, I've lost a lot. I've probably lost more than most of you. If I'm not mistaken, it was something along those lines. That statement pissed me the fuck off. You want to talk about losing stuff? That's fine. It's your story. It's your experience. But when you start comparing your losses against others and swapping horror stories, trying to one-up someone else, that's pretty shitty. And to be so conceited and arrogant to think that you have lost more than most people that were watching your videos is really, really an asshole statement to make. You said that you were very popular with your fraternity before you transitioned, and that you had probably well over 100 friends that you could hang out with at any time without necessarily even calling them up. And that very few people stuck around after your transition. Well, if they didn't stick around, how close of friends were they in the first place? Maybe your perspective of friend and your definition of friend is less meaningful than mine. And that's probably because of our perspectives on life. Let me tell you something. I never had family. And when I was trying to build my family back up, don't think for 1 minute that my transition did not affect that in the slightest, because it did. I haven't spoken to my mother in over a year. We went for 3 years before I spoke to her. My family, for the most part, has nothing to do with me. I'm lucky sometimes if I get a text message from them. So I understand loss. And because of my perspective on family and my experience with family, my friends became my family. So when I call someone a friend, I mean it. And nothing stands in the way of friendship in my eyes. You said time and time again, you did this all on your own, but then turn around and back that up with, granted, you did have some help from your family. Well, you didn't do it all on your own. Not that I'm bitter that you had help from your family, because if you can get it, get it where you can. But the truth of the matter is no, you didn't do it all on your own. So don't come across as if you did. The arrogance of coming across as if you did this all on your own and you have no one else to thank for this is bullshit. Simple as that. Bullshit. I've had to fund everything on my own. Talking about other losses, I had a promising career in the restaurant industry. Now, granted, I know you might not consider working in a restaurant a, quote, real job, because in one of your latest videos before this one, you referred to the retail industry as not being a real job. Well, a real job is a job where you work and you get compensation for that. I was a general manager of a restaurant. I had about 11 years in the restaurant experience in the restaurant industry. I also was very active as an entertainer, predominantly performing poetry. I did many shows that were within predominantly urban demographics and religious urban demographics. I used to do bookings for bands and for venues and doing event production and promotions as well. When I started transition, things were fine until I started living full time. Right around that time, I lost my job. I went and tried to get a new job. I couldn't get a job in the restaurant industry to save my life after that. I went from being a general manager to not even being able to work the front or the back of the house. I couldn't even get a dishwasher job in the city I lived in. One of the event promoters that used to book me for a lot of shows, she could no longer book me. She told me she could no longer book me for these shows. So I had to start over. I ended up having to move. I sold everything I owned, and what little I did have, I packed into a car and I drove. Went on tour. After my tour, I moved to Texas. Finally started rebuilding my life at that point. 3 years ago, I finally started working into a new career. I went from making $600 a week plus bonuses. Reason why I look the way I do currently is because I haven't been able to afford to progress my transition. I just don't understand, how can you be so fucking arrogant and conceited and to think that you know, I mean, that your life has been harder than anyone else's without even trying to put yourself into their shoes, because you don't know. I just told you everything about my life, about my struggle, and the truth of the matter is I'm still grateful. Why? Because there are individuals out there that have even lost more than me and have been through more shit than I have. I not once would I ever try to assume or make a statement that I've had it worse off than most of my viewers, because I would never be so conceited to think that was the case. In one of your videos, you also talked about how you didn't owe anything to anyone in the trans community. Well, the truth of the matter is no, you don't technically owe anyone anything. But you said that no one did anything for you. No one helped you out. And no trans person helped you get your hormones and all of this stuff. Well, the truth of the matter is, granted, no, you don't technically owe anyone anything. But to be so fucking arrogant and conceited once again, to assume that the trans men and women who have walked this path before us, who have been open and expressed their stories and shared their stories with other individuals, and who helped try to make a difference and gain acceptance in this world for us and for them, I think it's like you might as well shit on their graves on the ones who have died for you to make such a statement. Because there have been many men and women in our community who have made tons of sacrifices to make this world a better place for all of us. I want to like you. because I love the fact that you're opinionated. But I can't help but look at you and think, how fucking conceited can one individual be? How much of a spoiled, conceited, arrogant, as you would say, brat can one person be not to realize that many people have made sacrifices that has made your life easier, because they have. Granted, it might not be directly, but indirectly they have affected the success of you in your transition.